Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another animation analysis video, and ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking a look at the new free-to-play units that we got in this batch from the Android 18 and 17 Tournament of Power celebration. I don't know why I said their names backwards, but I guess that's what we're rolling with. We got a brand new Kid Goku and a Kid Krillin from the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament for the Dragon Ball story. And we got a brand new GT Android 18 Super Attack. Unfortunately, with this one, kind of stinks because 18 got a brand new super for this card, which was really good actually, that I wanted to take a look at in this video just to include it in something. But then the 17, that is her counterpart, that also got an awakening. His essay didn't change at all, and for some reason the 17 from here, his essay also didn't change at all. And then if we skip to the Android 18, her essay didn't change at all. So I don't know why they only gave some love to the GT Android 18. I mean, I guess not that I really mind because the essay is really good, but it's just kind of strange that they only updated her and not the rest of them. But nonetheless, we're going to take a look at Kid Goku and Kid Krillin first, as they are kind of the main focus of the video, but we will definitely take a look at the GT 18 just because, I mean, like, it's a bunch of free-to-play units, right? We're just going to kind of include it in the video. It'll be like, consider it the side banner unit of this video, like how I usually take a look at the side banner unit in the main units video. So with these essays, these are actually pretty cool, right? So of course, as per usual, I always like to say when we take a look at free-to-play essays, we're not really kind of gauging them on the same scale as we are big boy units, right? On the premium units that we have, of course, because, you know, it wouldn't really be fair to these free-to-play characters. And not to mention, right, these are kind of like, you know, they're not LRs or anything like that. They're just awakenings for these random units. But by golly, I think they're really cool. They're very simple, right? But to be fair, that in kind of encompasses... oh, right. I forgot we have the police officers. These guys, they have a essay of all time. If you're curious why this is the case and why this looks so goofy, that's because if any character in the game doesn't have an actual essay, like if they have, you know, just a generic boss card, but, you know, they don't actually super attack you at all, this is what their super attack animation looks like. Then, obviously, for one of the events where they're implemented, they're in there, so that's why that super attack is there. But, let's go ahead and take a look at Goku's here. Kid Goku first. I think out of these two, I actually like Krillin's the best. His is really, really good, but Goku's is pretty simplistic, but it's pretty cool. First of all, we have a nice little bit of perspective, obviously, here. Oh, I forgot my little intro as well. Always keep in mind, right, I am by no means an animation professional. I'm no animator or nothing like that, but I take a look at Dokkan essays all the time, and I have a pretty good idea of what makes them good, if I do say so myself. So, that being said, let's take a look at Goku. Yeah, obviously, with the beginning of this, right, we have some nice little perspective with the turning, right, which is really cool. That almost makes this look sort of 3D, which is a nice little effect there. And then they zoom into Goku's PNG. I will say, it must be how his hair is just looking in the sea, but it looks like weirdly parted. I'm sure that's just how it looks in the anime, but I swear it's like... it's not like poofed up enough or something. I mean, I guess he is running forward, like if we compare it to the card art right here. But I saw this and I was like, huh, the gap in his head looks a little bit bigger than normal or something like that. But anyway, obviously, with this, right, we have Goku running forward, which I think the animation is pretty good. Obviously, jumping up into the air. And then a very, very simplistic animation of Goku right in front of the sun here with a little bit of movement before we get into the little jump, which I will say I quite like. Obviously, we have a couple pose changes here, but again, this is a free-to-play unit, so I'm not going to be like, grrr, like I am with the big boy units, right? We obviously have him get into this pose here, which I will say the nice little bit of minimal movement is there. And it looks pretty good, obviously, as he's kind of winding up the rock, paper, scissors attack, right? And the actual falling animation, I think, looks pretty good. They have a couple of different, you know, changes in the pose there to kind of represent it before Goku obviously gets to the camera. And I like this little thing that they do, right? It's super simple in terms of the actual assets itself. It's basically like every single section of this just has 2 different poses, right? You have for the punch, right, or the rock, I guess you would say, because the rock paper scissors attack, right? You have obviously the first falling fist, and then obviously going into it, right? You have Goku's arms to the side, and then the scissors, right, to give him the little poke in the eyes. And I like how the effect actually follows suit, right? For the punch, it's like this little white circle effect, and then for the 2 you know, fingers in your eyes right there, it obviously smashes right there. So very cool little attention to detail. And obviously the paper, right, with a little smack upside the head. Very, very simplistic, but I quite like it, right? And I'm glad that this guy got an awakening, because I was really wondering when they were going to actually awaken this unit. Now, Krillin, first of all, before we actually take a look at Krillin's essay, I have to say, I did not realize this is the second Kid Krillin in the game. The only other Kid Krillin is a random STR one. I think he might be an SR. He's a World Tournament unit. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know for a fact that he's STR. And that's the only other Kid Krillin in the game. I was amazed because I was looking up Kid Krillin's name when I was posting the assets to make sure that I had, like, you know, Krillin parentheses youth correct. Because I always like to make sure and double check with the cards that are already in the game. But I was like, dude, this is the only other one. That was kind of wild to me, honestly. So, it is pretty cool that since we are getting this as the second Kid Krillin card, its essay is actually really good. I like the anime-esque background. Obviously, I'm sure it's taken right from the anime. But we have a little bit of movement on the Obi belt, which is very nice. Krillin coming forward towards the screen with some very nice little anime speed lines. I gotta say, throughout this whole thing, Krillin is drawn so Dragon Ball, like OG Dragon Ball-esque. It's perfect. Throughout this entire, like, essay, his body shape and just the way that he moves and everything just looks so Dragon Ball to me, right? I know that's like such a silly way to say it, but it's true. It just looks absolutely fantastic, if I do say so myself. But obviously, Krillin gives the bop, right? The little punch there with the basically just really quick impact, which I think works pretty well, honestly. And then, of course, Krillin getting back to a standing pose there, then dashes forward. I think this is the same asset as he came in on, right, into the frame. Let's go back here. It's going to be hard to, like, pause on it. Yeah. Here, right, where he's zooming in, right, with his arm like that. Yeah, I think it's the same one, but they just stretch it a little bit to kind of imply speed, which is pretty cool. Obviously, they do this a lot of the time when it comes to different Dokkan assets and stuff like that to imply speed or movement. You know, they kind of stretch the asset a little bit. They do it a lot more for free-to-play units, and actually, this is something that a lot of old Dokkan essays used to really like to do a lot. But obviously now, with more advanced animation techniques in Dokkan, you know, they're able to animate it a little bit better. But obviously using it for a free-to-play unit, I still think works really well. But then Krillin dashes off screen to come back on screen. I feel like if this was a game that was like a landscape game, this wouldn't have been like a necessary transition. But it is cool, right? If you keep your eye on the background, right, you can obviously see the World Tournament stage is still in frame. And then it's basically like exactly still there, right, with Krillin kind of disappearing behind the side of the screen. I quite like how they executed that. It's very interesting, and it's kind of like mesmerizing to look at. The Krillin like disappears here, and then the camera shifts, and then Krillin's over there. I don't know, it's like a little bit weird for the brain to process, but I think it definitely works really well for the essay. And obviously we have the quick punch before Krillin jumps back, and I have to say, I really like that they actually animated him moving a little bit, right? You can see that once he stands up, right, he then actually adjust his body just a little bit to obviously then jump back, right, which that animation looks good with a little dust cloud on the ground as well there. You can see the little yellow, right, a little spark on the ground. And then we have this nice flip with this very anime-esque background, right? This flip looks fantastic, super well animated with Krillin landing on the ground, and oh my gosh, dude, the animation on this is so smooth, I swear. Krillin landing, right? And then obviously they stretch him a little bit to, again, kind of give him that right before impact. And then they have him actually compress his body down a little bit with his Obi belt actually settling down to a neutral point. With even the little bit of like flutter there at the end, right? You can see almost like the little pendulum thing. Why this is so incredibly animated? I don't know. I saw this and I was like, Krillin popping off? You love to see it? It looks so good, right? And obviously then Krillin readying himself in the battle ready stance, right? A little bit of the pose action going on. And then, of course, we get the card art appear on the screen before. I can't believe there's more, by the way. Like, they literally could have just ended the essay there where the card art ended, to be honest with you. But we have this very nice asset of Krillin here. Obviously, very, very high quality asset here, right? This would be cool if somebody rebuilt this, honestly. With Krillin going forward towards the enemy. And this is animated very well as well, I feel like, right? With obviously Krillin, you know, his leg kind of coming up from behind and obviously his entire body moving with it, right? It looks really, really good before we get that anime background, excuse me, coming back in. And a quick transition to a beautiful little kick, right? With not only some very nice motion blur on his foot to kind of imply how hard the actual attack was, right? But obviously, you know, the anime background again kind of moving there too, and a little bit of the spark. This whole section here too, especially, like I thought a little bit of the stuff from before was really good, but this whole section here too just looks fantastic. I love the transition into the actual kick, and then the actual kick itself feels super impactful. I was shocked, honestly. I feel like these days, it's so weird to me. Like, I swear I'm more impressed by the free-to-play essays because they're these free-to-play cards that get these pretty good-looking essays. And then I swear the Dokkan Fest have been lacking a lot recently. I don't know when the situation flipped, but this is 2023 Dokkan, I guess. But I'm here for it, bro. I really like this Kid Krillin's essay. I think it was done super well. And I'm glad that if we are going to have just like one Kid Krillin, I mean, I don't know, maybe they'll give him another free-to-play card someday, or maybe they'll give him some other kind of like actual Dokkan Fest or something, or maybe it'll be like a Kid Krillin and a Kid Goku as more of like a proper unit, right? But regardless, definitely very, very well done on Kid Krillin's front. Let's go ahead and move over to the GT18 now. Again, as I said, fortunately, the rest of these essays were not updated, which is so weird to me. Maybe it's just because they had so many free-to-play units in this batch, they just didn't update everybody. I'm not really sure. But we have the GT Android 18. Holy cow, that is moving really fast. Let's get that in the slow-mo. By the way, love this Android 17 card. I just wanted to say this at some point. Literally, somebody edited this today with the Dragon Fist because it kind of looks like he's doing the Dragon Fist, which is really cool. But anyway, so obviously we have GT18, right, with the hair swiping a little bit, the clothes, the pearls on her. All of it looks really, really good. Before we have her disappear, again, by the way, this whole essay has some really cool background effects. Obviously, we have this little red one here before it transitions to the blue. And we have 18. This is a pretty cool little transition here, I will say. So, obviously, very simplistic punch. I feel like this one doesn't have too much impact, but the nice thing that they do for it is that they obviously have the impact frame there, right? Let me go back. It's looking like the red. The YouTube, like, preview button is really doing me dirty here with with looking at this, because I'm trying to click back to like here, but clearly that isn't just red on the screen. Regardless though, right, obviously flashing in to bring 18 in, and then of course with her fist getting closer to the Cybermen, that's when they flash the white and black on the screen, and then obviously have her have a little bit of recoil on the punch, the little swipe to represent the kick, and a little bit, bro, I'm telling you, it's little things like this, right, this tiny little bit of minimal movement there with her recoiling from the kick that makes this essay feel so good and makes essays just like it feel so much better when it's just those little details that you don't even really notice that make it feel so lifelike. And then, of course, we transition to the punch, which, again, I think actually looks pretty decent, right? There's a lot of follow-through on it. It's also a very nice asset of Android 18, right? With, obviously, her swinging her fist forward. The only thing that I see that this is probably just because it's in the slow-mo, to be honest with you, which, obviously, that's the only disadvantage of looking at these essays in slow motion like this sometimes, is obviously you catch little things with, like this, right? Where the head asset changes a little bit. But to be fair, right? A head tilt, I feel like, is necessary here, and not to mention, you know, I think it works just fine for this particular scene. And obviously, then we have her bring her fist forward with a big pose change, but again, it is a free-to-play unit, and not to mention, I think it works all right. The Dust Cloud explosion looks really good, by the way, especially with the little rocks coming out and everything like that. So then we get the actual bulk of this super attack. By the way, it's really interesting that they decided for the card art to, like, have the effects be red, but then also have her Kamehameha effects be blue. It's, like, such a clash of things going on. But then, obviously, we have the Ki Blast firing off, which I think it looks alright. It does look a little bit weird, but I think it's honestly just because of the pose 18 is in. She's in, like, this very, like, I don't know, vertical? I don't really know how to describe it. Like, just straight up and down pose that just looks a little bit awkward. But again, it's just because of the source material that they're taking from. Obviously, all of the blasts exploding into the building with a fantastic explosion effect with all these rocks at the end that looks really, really good. And that is then the SA for 18. Honestly, for a free-to-play update, right, for a unit that's like really old, I don't remember when these guys initially came out. Unfortunately, I don't have the tab pulled up, but obviously these GT androids are pretty old free-to-play units. So it's cool to see them get a pretty good updated modern super attack. Again, it's a bit of a shame that Android 17 didn't get one. I don't know if they just didn't have anything to take from for him, or if they have that plan for like a future big boy unit or something like that. I'm not really sure, but either way, though, I think for a GT18, this looks pretty good, right? It definitely looks good, and I'd say for a free-to-play unit, like I would even think that this might be like a sub, like banner unit, right? With how good this super attack is, albeit it is pretty short, but again, that's because it's a free-to-play unit. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Definitely let me know what you think of all of the essays that we took a look at today. Again, I think out of all of these, definitely my favorite personally is Kid Krillin. I think his is very, very well animated. And again, because we don't have like any Kid Krillins in the game, it's nice that he has a really good essay. But it's always nice to take a look at these free-to-play units, because not only for me does it kind of feel like a little bit of a break almost from taking a look at the big boy Dokkan Fest units that just have so many animations to take a look at that the videos ended up being so long. But I always feel like I'm almost too hard on the you know, like the big boy units sometimes. But obviously, you know, I'm just trying to be critical and, you know, be analytical and all that type of stuff. But it's always nice to take a look at these units because it feels like a little bit of a breath of fresh air. And like I said, man, I feel like they've really been cooking on these free-to-play essays. I've honestly been very, very happy with everything that they've been doing with them. So I hope that they keep up the quality for these free-to-play essays, because I would definitely love to see more like this, especially if we end up getting more Dragon Ball with it. Shoot, I'm all here for it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what was your favorite essay out of the batch that we took a look at today, and let me know what you think of these essays. Probably the next free-to-play essay that we're going to be taking a look at, unless we get something between now and then, is actually going to be the Trunks and Broly essay that we obviously took a look at Trunks' SSR super attack in a previous video. So look forward to that. I am beyond excited to make that video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.